all I could do was be there for him and support him and love him, and he was scared, and we were all scared, and we had the hopes that he was going to beat it. You didn't get any sleep, right? Because Cameron would get chemo at 3 a.m, and he was in pain, and you're massaging his feet all night long, and you were on empty, emotionally and physically. Just, you had nothing left. And at some point during that process, the social work talked about a Make-A-Wish. Just thinking about all the possibilities when you're going through this kind of stuff makes just the world a difference. And what he really wanted to do was just, after beating the cancer, go to Hawaii. He wanted to go back to Hawaii as a family and just celebrate, beating the cancer. And that's what he, I think, had settled in on. But unfortunately, after he had a bone marrow transplant at Mott U of M, and it went great. Brandon was a perfect match. It was the first positive hope that we had in the whole process. But then a week later, in July, some spots showed up on his legs, and they did some tests, and it was the leukemia was back, and it was in a new form, and we started radiation, trying to do that. But basically, you're in such a weakened state, your body can't tolerate any other chemotherapy or anything else. It's like it's a roll the dice, everything. But we involved Cameron in all the decisions, and then finally one day, we talked to him, and he said he was done. He didn't want to do it, and he didn't want to die hooked up to machines, and he wanted to just go home. And he was the only one strong enough to really make that decision. And so then we just went home, and at some point during that process, in the last few weeks, he was laying on our bed one day, and he said, "Dad, I know what I want for my Make-A-Wish." And I was like, "Buddy, what do you want? Anything." And he said, "I want to meet with the Make-A-Wish people, Dad. I want to meet with them right now. Call them." And so we called them, and they met in private. And it turns out that Cameron gave his wish to us. He knew he wasn't going to make it, and he knew that he couldn't go to Hawaii. So he wanted to make over our bedroom. He worked with the Make-A-Wish people, and who set up a designer, and they came out and met with CJ, and they worked together on a plan. And Cameron wanted the "Love You More" saying on our wall, so that we always said to each other. And he wanted lots of pictures of happy times. I think it was kind of a place for us to heal, and a gift that he could give us, when he had nothing else to give, even though we didn't need anything other than just him. And then he passed away September 2nd of that year. And then the Make-A-Wish people unveiled, he didn't get a chance to see it finished, but they, finished it up right after his passing and unveiled it to us. The first day I was riding, and it was just barely dawn, and I had Cameron's picture on my back. We had just left the elementary school and gone up over the hill, and here comes this group of riders with this guy in the front, and he slows down next to me, and he sees my picture of Cameron on the back, and he asked me, "Tell me about Cameron." And so I start talking to him about Cameron, and he's asking me questions, and just the idea of somebody taking an interest in me being able to share Cameron and his story, and it was wonderful. And then says, "Well, you riding with anybody?" And I'm like, "No." It's like, "Well, you want to ride with us?" "Sure." So I ended up getting in, with this group, and they were St. Joe's team. And the guy in the front is Rob Cassalou, and, which I didn't know anything about Rob at the time. And the next day we're riding, and it was Saturday, and he's like, "Bob, I got to do this little speech tonight. Do you mind if I share your story and Cameron's story?" I'm like, "I don't know what kind of speech you have to do, but no, I don't mind." So then we go to the Whammies, and goes on to say that, every year there's something that happens on the Wham that reaffirms that he's involved with the right organization and the cause. And then he talks about, this guy in a Gumby jersey and riding up and meeting him. And then he shares Cameron's story and his wish, and then I was hooked. So then I decided to get other people involved and not just myself. And then I thought I'd get 2 or 3 people that would join me, and I ended up having 17 people that first year of Cameron's Crusaders team. And then in 2019, now you can see the team, it's now 27 people, and we raised enough money to pay for 6 wishes. The impact of the wish and the whole thing is just, Cameron getting to dream and hope about different things and all the possibilities, and then he giving him not only that, but the pride and joy of giving us something, and that I know he was very proud of and felt good about giving back to us. And then it lives on because it's something we wake up to every day. And it gave me a purpose. So through that whole process, and it gave me a way to honor CJ and make something good happen out of our tragedy, and a way to bring up and talk about my son, because you want his memories to live on